Tensions have long simmered between Iran and Israel. Now they've boiled over. Iranian forces launched a multi-pronged attack on Israel, marking a dangerous escalation of the conflict. The attacks, which involved missiles, drones, and ground forces, targeted strategic locations in Israel. These included military bases, population centers, and critical infrastructure.
The attack sent shockwaves through Israel and the international community. Israel quickly retaliated with airstrikes against targets inside Iran. The situation remains volatile, with both sides threatening further action. The international community is scrambling to contain the crisis. The fear is that this could spiral into a wider regional war.
The attacks mark a significant escalation in the long-standing conflict between Iran and Israel. They underscore the deep-seated animosity between the two countries. The attacks also highlight the potential for miscalculation and the risk of a wider conflagration in the volatile Middle East.
The roots of the Iran-Israel conflict run deep. They are a tangled web of ideological differences, geopolitical rivalries, and historical grievances. The 1979 Islamic Revolution in Iran marked a turning point. Ayatollah Khomeini, the revolution's leader, called for the destruction of Israel. Iran has since provided support to groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, which oppose Israel's existence. Israel, in turn, views Iran's nuclear program as an existential threat. It has carried out covert operations to sabotage Iran's nuclear ambitions. The two countries have also engaged in proxy conflicts across the Middle East. The rivalry between Iran and Israel is not just about land or security, it is also a clash of ideologies. Iran, a Shiite theocracy, sees itself as a champion of the Muslim world. It views Israel as an illegitimate state and a Western outpost in the heart of the Middle East. Israel, a Jewish state, sees itself as a bastion of democracy in a hostile region. It views Iran's revolutionary ideology as a threat to its existence.
The international community has reacted with alarm to the latest outbreak of violence between Iran and Israel. World leaders are urging both sides to show restraint and de-escalate the situation. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting to address the crisis. There are calls for a return to diplomacy and dialogue.
However, prospects for a negotiated settlement appear slim at this stage. Trust between Iran and Israel is practically non-existent. Both sides are locked in a cycle of mistrust, hostility, and violence.
The United States, a close ally of Israel, has condemned the Iranian attacks. It has vowed to stand by Israel and provide it with the necessary support to defend itself. However, the US is also wary of getting dragged into another major conflict in the Middle East.
Section 4. Voices from the rubble, human cost of the conflict. Behind the geopolitical chessboard are real people whose lives have been upended by the conflict. In the aftermath of the attacks, harrowing stories of loss, fear, and displacement are emerging. Civilians on both sides are bearing the brunt of the violence.
Hospitals are struggling to cope with the influx of casualties. Homes have been reduced to rubble. Families are mourning the loss of loved ones. The psychological toll of the conflict is immeasurable.
Children in particular are deeply affected by the trauma of war. International humanitarian organizations are working to provide aid and assistance to those affected by the conflict. However, their efforts are hampered by the ongoing fighting and the difficult security situation. The humanitarian crisis is likely to worsen if a ceasefire is not reached soon.
Section 5. Charting the course, the uncertain future. The situation remains extremely volatile and unpredictable. The conflict could escalate further, potentially drawing in other countries in the region. A wider war would have catastrophic consequences for the Middle East and beyond. There is an urgent need for a diplomatic solution. However, achieving a lasting peace will require immense effort, compromise, and a willingness to address the root causes of the conflict. The international community has a crucial role to play in facilitating dialogue and building trust between the parties. The future of the Middle East hangs in the balance. The world is watching anxiously as the drums of war beat louder. The hope is that reason will prevail and a path to peace can be found. The alternative is too terrible to contemplate.